Hey everybody, welcome to Live Out Loud with Jason. How are you doing today? What an amazing day we have here. Saturday, what's today? June 6th. Beautiful weather. Look at the sunshine out there. Is this not just amazing? It's time for Live Out Loud. I want to talk to you a little bit. By the way, if you guys saw, I was on a few earlier out riding my one wheel with Josiah. Can you read this now? Because it was apparently reversed in the previous video. I had a snacksident. I ate all the bacon. Yeah. If you're watching live with me today, man, please go ahead and chime in and just say hello. Let me know you're there. I am so glad that you're joining in today. We're talking about living out loud, right? And what is living out loud? Discovering the awesomeness that you're created to be, the gifts, the talents, the abilities that God put in you that need to be developed. And Rochelle said we can read your shirt now. Thank you. Okay, got it. And going for it, and going for it, and going for it. Go for it. What's holding us back? So I want to just share real quickly with you some things that I believe. Here's the dog. If you hear any grunting down here, it's Spike, our bulldog. Yeah. Hey, Spike. What's up, good girl? Hello. Got to pet our baby. Yeah. So I believe that people, generally speaking, people are much more awesome than they think. I believe that we're God's creation, that He's created us as unique individuals in His image, but He's given us each individual personalities, talents, an inner motor, an inner working that works a little bit differently on each of us. And I believe that the more we get to know God, that He's going to reveal more about us and who He made us. As He reveals more about Him and we draw close to Him, He also helps us understand who we are. I also see that it seems like too many times people and me in my life, we just tend to go with the flow and take what life serves us rather than taking control of things. Sometimes when things don't go our way, we blame God. We blame God when things don't go right, but we've abdicated our own responsibility, and we have to take a personal responsibility and accountability. Many people, I believe many people, and it's easy for, again, I'm talking, when I say many people, I mean me, I mean you, all of us. It's easy to stay in a groove so long that it becomes a rut and time has passed by. It's like highway hypnosis. I don't really like that term, but I learned that in driver's ed when I was 15 years old. Is once you've driven a path so many times, or to and from work or school or wherever, and one time you can all of a sudden look up and be at your destination and go, wow, how did I get here? I don't even remember driving here. It's because it was so ingrained in your subconscious about how to get there. Your mind just took you there and made all those decisions without you having to interact on it. I also believe that most people have a self-identity and a value that is far less than what it should be. We don't want to be arrogant, but I believe too many times we take it to the other extreme. We all have unrealized potential. We all, deal with self-doubt, fear, shame of past failures, fear of embarrassment, fear of losing, fear of getting hurt, failure. Well, failure's not failure till you give up. And I look at failure as the tuition to pay for success, because you're not going to get it right the first time. You're not going to be an expert the first time. You're not going to be perfect the first time. And the only way to get better is to get out there and do it. Whatever it is you're trying to do with your life, with your gifts, with your career, with your relationships, all of that, you've got to get started and get it moving. Not only is failure the tuition for success, I believe that, pain paves the way for us. And we don't like to hear about pain, but we learn from pain. Pain makes us stronger. It forges us in the fire to make us more determined in what we're doing. And, it's not always easy to be positive during pain, but when you're going through pain, when you're going through the valley, I want to encourage you, friends. Oh, hey, there's Phoebe. Hey, Phoebe, glad you're listening in today. I want to challenge you and encourage you that when you're going through the pain, embrace it. And not that you love the pain, but know that the pain is forging you like steel, making you better. And you can get stronger, or you can get brittle, or you can burn up. Get stronger. Make a decision in your mind that, you know what, I'm going through this and I'm going to be better because of this. I will be better because of this. So I also believe that, that the seeds and gifts, the talents that are within us, they need to be watered. They need to be developed. They need to be dug up, uncovered. They need to be sprinkled with water and fertilizer and sunshine, and get them out in the open and get it out there. And like my good old buddy Joe Covarrubias likes to say, take it for a spin. Take it for a spin. Take it for a spin. That's my word for you guys today, or for you today, friends. Take it for a spin. Whatever it is, take it for a spin. Now, we have to uncover, discover, and even develop who God made us, who He called us to be. Okay? And like I mentioned yesterday, C.S. Lewis, a quote, it's like we're eggs. And we're just a good old normal egg. We can't be a good old normal egg forever. We're either going to hatch or we're going to go bad. Think about your life that way. I'm either going to hatch or I'm going to go bad. Which is it going to be? I want to hatch. I don't want to go bad. I'm not going to sit around and collect dust with what God's given me, what He's entrusted me, what He's called me to do. It reminds me of the parable of the talents, the minas, the guy who buried the mina because he thought the master was a tough guy, basically, and he didn't do anything with it. We have a responsibility to be good stewards of what God has given us. And I want you, friends, no matter where you're at, I want you to begin to see things in a different way, that God is giving you things to be a steward of, And what I'm not just talking about the money and the finances that you have. Okay, yeah, that's part of it, but that's just a small slice of the pie. God has given you abilities, dreams, a message, a life message. He's given you gifts, and we cannot let those things collect dust. We have to use them. We have to develop them, or they're going to go bad, like a rotten egg. And you know what rotten eggs smell like? Don't let your life smell like rotten eggs. Okay? If we are going to come close to our potential, we need to start now. And friends, I'm just inviting you. Go with me. 2020 has tried to deal a death blow to your life, maybe to your job, to your family, to your health, to your business, to our country. Matter of fact, to the world. Okay, regardless of who or what you think is responsible, there's some bad stuff that's happened and even in the economy, and especially in the economy. And I want you to rise above it. You're not going to be a victim of that. I'm not going to be a victim of that. We are going to go get it. We're not going to sit back and let things happen to us. We are going to actually happen to those things. Okay. So I want to tell you about a little acronym. I love acronyms. So I've got this acronym, and it's LIFE. L-I-F-E, and L stands for leadership. I stands for inspiration. F stands for focus. And E stands for execution. Oh, hey Daniel, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? Thanks for saying hey in here. So, leadership, for me, I want to be led by the Spirit of God. And I choose every day to be led by the Spirit of God. And I'm inspired when God shares with me and teaches. I'm inspired by the Word and by other people and so many things, but I'm inspired by the call that He has on my life. So, the Holy Spirit leads me. I'm inspired by the so many things, and filled with the Spirit. And then now it's time for me to focus. And we're going to talk about focus here in just a second. But it's time to focus on the most important things and execute them. So LIFE, leadership, inspiration, focus, and execution. And we can get stuck at any of those. All right, so I want to, and by the way, when we discover who God has created us, what He's equipped us to do, and we begin working in those areas, life is way more fun. Life is way more fun and rewarding and fulfilling when we get to do the things we were created to do. I mean, if you think about something that you're just really not good at, we're not good at everything. And matter of fact, we're only really good at a few things. But think about sometime when you've had to do something that is just a drag. You're not good at it. You can't stand it. Wow. But how about if you could spend more and more time every day as the months, seasons, and years go by, actually honing in and developing the things that you're really good at, that you're really made for. Life is so much more rewarding at that point. Okay, and by the way, we've talked about this before, but why spend our life and our career pursuing average? Why? Why not pursue the greatness that God's called us to be in the area He's called us to do it in? So, a friend of mine recently passed away, and maybe you knew him. And but I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to miss him. His name is mediocrity. That's right, I tricked you. Mediocrity. I have killed mediocrity. I'm not going to have any of it in my life anymore. Come with me, friends. Live out loud. Let's not have any mediocrity in our lives. And we like to say, allergic to average. If you do what you're created to do and you develop it, you won't be average. You will be a standout. But if you try to live someone else's life, if you feel like, man, I wish I was like that person, or you try to be that person, or even if you wish that you were that person, don't waste that. Don't waste your life and energy on that. It's okay to be inspired by someone, but don't feel like you need to be that type of person that they are, because their gifting is likely much different than yours. Discover yours and be you. You're the only one that can be you. And if I would have understood this when I was a teenager, how, of course, hindsight is 20/20 for all of us, right? But if I would have understood this when I was a teenager, how much better off and how much more fulfillment would I have received in life, and how much more value would I have given in life to others if I would have realized this sooner rather than later. And I'm just so thankful that I'm on that path, and maybe you're on that path with me. If you're not, join with me. Make a determination. I'm going to live out loud. I'm going to be who God called me to be. I'm going to discover Him more. I'm going to draw near to Him. I'm going to discover my talents. I'm going to develop those. And when we start doing that, wow, things get fun. And at that point, when you start doing work, becomes not work anymore. And there's this thing called flow. Have you ever heard of flow? It's when you get so caught up in something that you lose track of time. And which reminds me, makes me want to think. One of my first jobs that I got, I was working in a warehouse, and what we did is we were taking tweezers and fingernail files and cuticle nippers and eyelash curlers, and we were taking them in bulk and packaging them individually in those little blister packs that you hang on the shelves at the store, and boxing them up into dozens and half dozens, and then putting those in bigger boxes, and then shipping them out of the warehouse. And so it was, I kid you not, it was the most monotonous, boring thing I'd ever done. Now, there were guys that worked there for years, and they didn't mind it at all. It fit right in with whatever their goals at the time were. But me, I would look at the clock, And I kid you not, the hours from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. were like, it wasn't 2 hours. It was more like 18 hours. It was like, stick a screwdriver in my eye. This is terrible. I can't stand this anymore. And I had to get out of it eventually. And so I did get out of it, and I realized that's not for me. That was not for me. And I don't even know why I told you that part of the story. But, oh yeah, back to flow. But then, what I do now, okay, I'm never looking at the clock going, oh man, it's only 3 o'clock. It's only 3:04. Oh, no. I'm looking at the clock saying, oh my gosh, it's already 5:30. Where did all the time go? See what I mean? When we start getting in that flow, and that could be, and I'm just using that about a job, but it could be any part of your life. When you know you're doing what you're good at, you lose track of time. And it's much more fluid and effortless to do that. And so it's worth, friends, it's worth taking a time out. It's worth asking yourself the hard questions. And here's another question: Do you have a plan for your life? Have you written it out? Have you? How about the season? How about the year, the month, the week? Do you have a plan? If we shoot at nothing, what are we going to hit? Nothing. We'll succeed, right? And do you have a plan? I would suggest a great place to start if you want to live out loud is to sit down with a blank sheet of paper, or however you take notes, and just start writing it out. This is how I want things to be when I breathe my last breath. This is what I want to be said about me. Here are the things I want to do, accomplish. This is the value I want to add to the lives of other people around me. And just start making a list of things, of maybe things, not only things you want to do, but who you want to be, what you want to be like. Write it down. Which reminds me, I read about a study. I could get some of these details wrong, so if you've heard about this study, but I think this was like in 1978. They queried the class of 1978 at Harvard. I think it was the MBA students, whatever. And they asked them, how many of them had written down goals. And apparently only 10% of them had written down goals. And they circled back with all these same people. I think it was either 10 or 20 years later. I can't remember. But after this period of time, which I think was 20 years, the average person that was in the 10% that had written their goals down was earning 10 times the amount of money that the remaining 80% were earning. And if you look at that, there was 10 people in the 10% and 90 people, in the 90% that didn't have goals. So these 10 people were making 10 times more on average than these others. So it's just dramatically different. And the only difference they found between all those people is some of them had goals written down. So I want to encourage you, friends, that whatever your goals may be, write them down. Begin to put them in your mind and in your heart. And then, I feel like we have inside of us our mind and our, whether you call it your subconscious or your spirit or your heart or however you want to divide that up. But when it starts coming from within you, it's whatever you believe, it's going to try to make that a reality. It's like an automatic pilot with GPS taking you to the coordinates that you programmed in it, right? And so let's hang on here real quick. My notes were about to go dead on my iPad. Oh, yes, I want to talk to you about something called the clarity paradox. Okay? I want to talk about the clarity paradox. So, The clarity paradox is this. If we have clarity, and I'm going to use the word clarity and focus interchangeably right now. That is not me grunting. That is Spike. The clarity and focus will lead you to success. Okay? And I want you to get this because some of you may have been caught up in this before. And then success, once you start having success in an area of your life, you have options and opportunities. Well, guess what options and opportunities lead to? Diffused efforts. Trying to go after too many things. And then your diffused efforts undermine your clarity. So think about that. I have clarity. I focus all my efforts. I attain some success. And now I've got some options. And now I try to pursue too many options. And I'm diffused. Oops. The doggy is playing with the pole. Sorry. Diffused efforts then undermine the clarity. So in a way, it could be said that a leading cause of failure could be success itself. So I want you to guard. Against diffused efforts as you start succeeding. Okay, friends. Let's see here. Bear with me just a moment here. Okay, so, what are you going to focus your time and effort on? Oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you real quick about, there's this guy. I'm going to switch cameras here, or switch views here. Here we go. Let me find him real quick. Maybe you guys have heard this story. Hang on, let me pull it back up. It disappeared. Okay, here we go. So there was this guy, I guess he was Warren Buffett's personal airplane pilot for like 10 years. And Buffett asked him one day, he said, what are your top 25 career goals? So he took some time to write them down. And then, Buffett said, okay, now I want you to go through it again, and I want you to circle on your list. I want you to circle your top five, your top five most important goals. And so he took time to do that. So he had list A, which was the 20 items, and then list B was the 5 most important ones. Okay, and so he asked him. He said, well, what are you going to do with those 5 goals? He said, well, I really think I need to start working on all 5 of those things right away. And then he said, what about the remaining 20? What are you going to do with those? And the guy said, well, those are still important, and I'll probably work on those intermittently as I have time. They're not as urgent, but I still plan to give them dedicated effort. And here's what Buffett told him. He said, no, you've got it all wrong. Everything that you didn't circle, the 20, is on the name of that list of the 20 items is the don't ever do list, ever. Because if you try to do the things on that list, you'll never accomplish the things on the top 5 list. And so, friends, there's probably things that you have. Hey, Michelle, by the way. Hey there. Yes, and that's why vision mission statements are important. Absolutely, 100% agree. 100% agree. And those are not easy to define. When you start having a vision and mission statement, you narrow your focus to, like in this case, this guy's 5 things, and you have to say no. So here's my message. Focus means saying no to other things. You can be pretty good at a lot of things, but you can only be amazing at a few things. And you can't be amazing at a few things if you try to be pretty good at everything. So there might be things that I enjoy doing, but if I spend time on them, they're going to undermine the focus and the accomplishment that I really have on my top priorities in life. So I have been over the last couple of years, honestly, I've been pruning. I've been pruning things out of my life that aren't helping propel me in my calling and in my mission. And sometimes, like for instance, I'm just going to give you, like, this is just a tiny one, but when I was a teenager and I lived at home with my mom, every Saturday my car got detailed. My car was always beautifully clean, inside and out. Matter of fact, my bedroom was vacuumed and my bed was made and all my stuff was dusted every Saturday. Okay? Well, as adults, we kind of have a reality check when we get busy lives, right? And so there's things that have to fall by the wayside. And one of the things that my mom likes to say is, Jason, sometimes you just have to let the heavy end drag. Like you're trying to carry something heavy and you can't carry it all. Sometimes you just got to let the heavy end drag and drag it, right? And I think about that. And there's certain things that maybe were a priority at a different season in my life that don't need to be a priority in this season of my life, okay? And there was a famous Texas politician, Ann Richards. I really don't know much of anything that she ever did or said, okay? But I heard that she said this, and this stuck with me. She said, "I don't want to be remembered for having a clean house." Wow. That's true. If you think about, if you think everybody, I'd love to have a clean house. I don't like to clean it, but I love having a clean house. But at the end of the day, isn't something like that, isn't it futility? Because it's just going to get dirty again. It's like mowing the lawn, right? And for instance, when we first moved out of Plano, where I grew up, Rochelle and I and the kids, we wanted a place where the kids could stretch their legs and run. We bought this 3-acre lot, right? And so what did I do? I went out and I bought a riding lawnmower, John Deere riding lawnmower, and I enjoyed mowing the lawn. There's something that I just love. There's a feeling that I get when I've finished mowing the lawn, I've done the edging and the weeding, I've blown all the grass off. It's a feeling of accomplishment, and yeah, it looks good. Well, this 3-acre lot, it took me 3.5 hours to do all of that. It took a long time. And so we had this house, and then in the backyard we had a pool with a metal fence around it, a wrought iron fence around it, and then all the rest of the property was around it. So my mowing mainly consisted of these huge loops just slowly zeroing in. And I would get started, and the Rochelle and the kids would go out to the pool, and they'd be splashing and playing, and then and then I would slowly get done, and I would I'd rinse off the mower, blow off everything, put all the equipment away, and then I would go out to get in the pool, and I would pass them coming in. I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna swim." They're like, "Oh no, we've been out here. We've had too much sun. We're going in." I did that for 2 seasons. And then I said, you know what? I'm done with this. And I sold my mower and all of my equipment, and I hired someone to mow that yard forevermore, because I said, you know what? My time with my family is more valuable and important to me than going and mowing that yard and the money it cost me to pay someone to do it, because I can never get back that time with those kids. And that's why I moved out here, was for family time. And so something I've really honestly enjoyed doing, I've always enjoyed mowing for my whole life since I was a teenager. I let it go, and I paid money to buy my time back so I could spend it with my family. And so, what are the things? Sometimes when we prune things out of our lives, sometimes it's going to cost us something. We're going to trade money for time, or time for money, or whatever. And so what are the things in your life, friends, that are need to be pruned, that are weighing you down, holding you back? It's like trying to run attached to a bungee cord or a parachute. What's holding you back from going and accomplishing what you need to do, and even taking that next step that you need to take? And so I want to encourage you, friends. Living out loud means making some hard decisions. It's not just about going and getting it and going after it and taking the next step. It's also about jettisoning some cargo and living free so you can go and get it. And so, yeah, Phoebe, it's okay. We need to give ourselves permission to let the past be in the past. We need to give ourselves permission to let go of some things that maybe even have sentimental value. Maybe it's physical things. Maybe it's a closet or a garage or an attic full of stuff, or maybe it's habits. That we've always done this. It's okay to sit back and reevaluate. Well, think about this. Think about it. Think about a football game. At halftime, where does the team go at halftime? They go into the locker room, and the coach reviews the performance with them for the first half, and they evaluate what their game plan was. Is our game plan still good? Do we need to make adjustments to our game plan? And it's okay for you to take a halftime. Take a halftime, reevaluate. Is my game plan still on track? Do I need to adjust? Have events occurred outside of my control that are causing me to have to adjust my game plan so I can still arrive at the destination that I've planned on? So it's okay. You have permission. And you know what? I've looked at myself in the mirror sometimes before, and I've said, Jason, you have permission to do this. And I know it kind of seems kind of silly talking to yourself, but whether you say it out loud or not, you're consciously or you're subconsciously talking to yourself all the time anyways. And I think that when we speak it out, it then circles back in our ears and we process it again, and it helps get it down in there. So I'm a big fan of speaking things out loud. I am the type of person who A, B, C. I do this. I value this. I am not the type of person that does this. And tell yourself that. Change your beliefs and ask God for an upgrade in your beliefs about Him, in your beliefs about you, your beliefs about others, a belief about your calling, your abilities, what you're called to do. And don't be a victim any longer of small thinking. If I was to, well, I do this. I look back sometimes, I'm like, hey, if I could go back, 5, 10, 20 more years and talk to the younger Jason, what would I want to talk to him about? For me, it would be small thinking. Limited, small thinking. And, you're greater than you think you are. God has put more in you. He's put His Spirit in you. He's given you the mind of Christ. Wow. Why not shoot for the moon? Go for it. And so, friends, I just want to tell you, no one else can be you except you. You are special. You are unique. Go out there and get them. Take the next step. Focus. Get rid of all the other stuff and focus. Okay? And let me know if you make any big decisions or you see some progress. Share it with me. Share it with your friends. Okay? Take what I've shared with you today, if there's even a single golden nugget, and share it with someone else. If there's one single golden nugget, share it with someone else and try to make a difference in someone else's life. So I just want to say bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and go out there and live out loud. Bye-bye.